after my hysterectomy. So, no spoilers, I do get one. All right. It's called On the Floor. So I'm on the hospital floor, and it's called Words Cannot Describe. The morning after my hysterectomy, I discovered two surprising facts. I can't read, and I love my catheter. Ted has brought me a copy of People magazine because he knows me and he knows there's no better antidote for whatever irks or ails me. People is the comfort food of magazines, my craft dinner and fresh tomatoes, my fish sticks and mashed potatoes. It's chock full of engrossing human interest pieces, tastefully layered with not so scandalous celebrity scoops, and it has loads of pictures. Note, I hate reading. I've always struggled with remembering what I read. It's effortful and time-consuming and frustrating. During my master's degree program, I was diagnosed with a learning disability for reading comprehension, which almost stopped me from getting a PhD and should have stopped me from becoming a professor. Instead, it made me one of those professors who hates reading but loves reading People magazine. Best of all, I can read a whole People magazine article in one sitting, usually. Today, however, I'm lying down, which makes me prone to napping. Evidently, it's more than just closing my eyes that's preventing me from understanding what I'm reading. It's the words themselves. They aren't making sense. Title, I Can't Read, an Inpatient Discovery by Yvonne Radulski. I'm playing at reading, doing all the things readers do. I'm holding the magazine in front of me, knitting my eyebrows tight as a sweater, pursing my lips in concentration. My eyes hobble through words in a procedural pattern from left to right and back again, like lazy open-eyed REMs, occasionally slipping from words to pictures where they meander for a while before they're hoisted back up in sentence to repetition. I can identify information on the page, words establishing a title, pictures of a large family, emaciated children clothed in matching outfits and with their faces pixelated, an editor's act of protecting the victims. Something tragic has occurred. I know this. I just don't know what the first sentence says. I'm looking at words, but it's the letters I see, the dipping down tails of J's, P's, and G's, the humps of the M's, the bellies of B's, the voluptuousness of the capital S, the curvature of the C's. Each letter hangs in the space of a sound I can make. I can puh, cuh, wah, I can vowel, I can schwa. I can add the sounds together to form word after word with phonetic triumph, and I want that to be enough. But the sounds don't describe the who, how, or why. It's like reading a sentence by Dr. Seuss, where Sneetches and Zacks have fluster attacks, only the words are less rhymey, less fun, and when all is sounded out and done, mostly empty on the inside. I shift my focus from sound to meaning, a task requiring oomph and anchor. I haul my eyes back to the sentence's beginning, and this time I connect the word sounds. I pause until grasping the aha part of meaning, absorb it, and reach for the next word in line. I catch a break. The word is light enough to skim through, like the, of, or into, sounds locked in vaults of early reading memory. I progress in stewy, congested steps, the mastered words plunging to their depths while I work through the knots of the next. Sometimes I forget the fallen words, and sometimes I'm able to move ahead until I read a place I've never been, like Paris, California, or a phrase I've never known, like stucco and stone, and then the words become snaggy and I get draggy, pond-bottom muckety-block stuck. As such, after several failed attempts at reading, I set the magazine aside. Note, I do learn to read again. Small, manageable portions of content at first, website scraps from WebMD, or topics like recovery after hysterectomy, spoonfuls of magazines and bite-sized text messages. But the meatier reading of a research article or a chapter in a book will take much longer to relearn. Presently, not reading is of no concern. I'm not shocked or alarmed. I simply move on to fixate on loving my catheter, which pairs nicely with apple juice, which I also love and am sucking back with furious joy. Yes, apple juice and catheters are the two items I love most in the world. Note, My extreme emotions are heightened by an acute sense of existing in the present moment, not in a purposefully Zen mindfulness sort of way. Nothing I'm experiencing is intentional or practiced, but in an out of sight, out of mind sort of way. I mean, obviously I love Ted, but Ted's not here, man, so I love apple juice and catheters instead. Title: Why I Love Apple Juice and Impatient Aside by Yvonne Radulski. I love apple juice because it's sweet and comes in a big container with crushed ice, and I can drink it slowly through a crumpled straw. I bite to make the juice last longer, and also I can get more because the nurses are on it and bringing me 2 apple juices at a time and multiple packs of soda crackers, which are mostly crushed because the nurses carry them in their pockets sometimes, but even the crushed ones are amazing and go perfectly with apple juice because of sweet and salty, and that's why I love apple juice. The end. Title: I love my catheter, an inpatient discovery by Yvonne Radulski. I love my catheter because last night I didn't have to drag myself out of bed 3 times to creep across a cold floor and sit on an even colder toilet seat. I love my catheter because it's broad daylight and I'm still in bed, drinking apple juice like my life depends on it. My life does depend on it. I'm convinced that in order to get back to normal, I need to rid my body of whatever was pumped into me during surgery. To drink and pee and drink and pee. The quickest route to getting clean is apple juice's vitamin C. And how amazing that I can drink gallons without raising the pesky alarm bells of my bladder, without feeling the tightening tug on my urethra. It's a smooth working machine down there, an assembly line of juice to pee without oversight from me. My first catheter experience was in 2008 after a previous lady part surgery. I had the same urge to drink to clear the meds from my system, the same sense that a kidney cleanse would help me mend. I'd been drinking all morning, icy apple juice, warm consomme, tepid black tea, until a nurse came by to remove my catheter and tell me it was time to get up and pee. I remember hoisting my legs over the side of the bed, a feeling of heaviness, then standing with effort, losing balance, feeling off and looking to see what was the matter with my bottom half. Gathering up my hospital gown, I gasped at the rolls and rivulets of flesh, my thighs supersized overnight, my belly and hips 2 times too big, my Alice in Wonderland body unrecognizable from the waist down. What the? I'd gone in for a laparotomy. They cut out fibroids, cauterized endo, untorqued my cervix. As far as I knew, my surgery took place below the belt but above my legs. Why then did my lower half look like a Shar-Pei? I was mystified until someone explained that post-surgical bloating just happens that way. Okay, but that would have been nice to know beforehand, since the pants I'd worn to surgery were not prepared for the extra amount of me I was leaving the hospital with. Ted went home to fetch me a pair of his sweatpants to wear. I declined his offer to bring shorts. Although it was the middle of a Florida summer and wearing shorts would have been more comfortable, I was not leaving the hospital with my newborn puppies exposed. I've since learned the necessity of having extra large sweatpants in anticipation of a post-surgery insta-bloat bod. I wore such pants to the hospital yesterday, and that's why I'm drinking Shar-Pei-inducing apple juice without fear. Preparation is rightly 2/3 of any venture, Amelia Earhart said, and she was not wrong, unless she was. And I suppose we'll never know. Of course, even with the best preparation, there's always the unexpected to contend with. Amelia found this out the hard way, as will I. I love my catheter because it does its job, taking pee from me, without complaining. And I do my job, peeing, without getting my panties in a bunch. Am I even wearing panties? Compared to the mass of pain and discomfort screaming from my innards, the pain I'm trying to ignore by focusing on drinking and cleansing, the catheter is a whisper of a thing. The teeny tube exiting my urethra is as barely there as the backside coverage of my hospital gown. And glory be, there's no urinary urgency for me, there's just pee. Yes, it's a bit odd that I don't always know when I'm going, but there's satisfaction in knowing my urine is flowing from a tube to a bag hanging somewhere off my hospital bed, and when my external bladder gets too full, a fullness I won't internally feel, why a nurse comes along, empties the pee into a container, and off it goes to the bathroom without me to be flushed down a toilet I don't have to sit on. In sum, I'm immensely pleased that all my urinary needs and deeds are offshore, farmed out, and overseen by factors independent of me. That's why I love my catheter. The end. I hate my catheter. I realize this the moment I attempt to leave my hospital bed and discover that the catheter, as an extension of me, is tethered to a big and bulky, extra ugly, very full bag of urine. Joined at the urethra, me and my pee bag are inseparable, which is fine when we're in bed together all night, but awkward when I try to leave the next morning. So why leave at all? Why not wait until the catheter is removed before going about my post-surgical day? Well, because drinking and peeing are just two of the things my body can do. The other things, not passing gas and withholding poo, are screaming for my attention. Turns out the external forces that make mainlining apple juice as swift and efficient process do not similarly apply to the extrication and evacuation of hospital meals and soda cracker snacks. The gas pains are coming thick and fast, and it's time for me to get a move on. My hand grabs the pee bags, and my legs get tangled in my catheter tube. Eventually, I make it out of bed to the space at the end of the room where I pace, dragging the bag and begging for a fart. In the Pain Hall of Fame, a special section is dedicated to the abominable, abdominal combination of constipation and gas, or gastipation, as I like to say. After a surgery, gastipation can be a serious problem, as the building pressure of the concrete poo, coupled with inescapable gas, makes the whole slow-moving pain bundle impossibly impassable. I know it's important to pass gas before leaving the hospital because my mom, may she rest in peace and forgive me for speaking so openly about bodily functions, imparted this bubbly nugget of info to me when I was a child. She was a nurse's assistant, so she knew these things. I was a child and could fart like the wind, so I didn't understand how people could have a hard time farting or why they had to fart in the hospital at all. But now I know. I'm pacing and swaying and squatting and praying. My nurse comes by and tells me I need to carry the pee bag by its handle and not drag it around like the ball and chain it became the moment I left my bed. She encourages me to take my baggage in hand and walk beyond my room. I'm already dressed for the occasion. No one's judging me in my backless gown or my bag of pee. No one's commenting on my shoeless feet, because the socks I'm rocking are pretty darn sweet. Title: Hospital Socks, an Inpatient Ode by Yvonne Radalski. Ye were not made for failing, industrial threads for feet. Tailored tough, battling buffed out floors in halls, by stick, by friction, withholding falls, born of the code, one size fits all. Walking feels good. I start slow, grappling with bag and balance until I find a flow. I pick up some speed. It's only once I start cruising and swinging my bag that I notice a problem not there when I dragged. My bag-holding swinging arm yanks up the tube, which pulls on my gown, exposing a bit of my butt all around. So I lower my shoulder and continue my stroll, developing a confident pace, freeing my mind to wander to the sign on the wall that proudly proclaims the number of days since a fall took place. Are there signs in every hall? On every wall of every unit of a hospital? Is there, for example, a number of days since a fall sign in labor and delivery? If so, do they specify who did the falling? I arrive back at my room. My steadfast bowels remain unmoved, and I find new reasons to hate my catheter. My discharge orders are in play, but instead of a nurse pulling the catheter plug, that tube's staying stuck until my follow-up appointment 3 days from now. Fuck. What I don't know is that 3 days from now, they'll send me home with the catheter and make me take it out myself. And also, I don't know how to put on my pants. A tube extends from my urethra. The tube is attached to a large bag. That large bag is filled with urine. The nurse who's been emptying it has flown the coop and my bird brain is left on its own to figure out the puzzle of putting on my pants, which I very much need to wear if I'm to leave the hospital. Note, for those of you who can imagine a scenario in your mind's eye based solely on the words I'm using to describe it, can I just say how jealous I am? I'm about to paint for you a picture that has taken me hours to write, because I can't go back into a visual memory to see how I managed putting on my pants with a pee bag. I can't even visually imagine how I would do it now. I can tell you how it felt. I can use words like frustrating and annoying and failure and why can't pants seams be made with tearaway Velcro. In fact, the whole pants pee bag thing, and likely this entire book of essays, can be summed up with one word: pain. Pain in the ass pain, pain in the vagina pain, gastrication pain, bird brain pain, sad pain, want to give up so bad pain, writing about pain, pain, rewriting about pain, pain, editing and re-editing multiple times about pain, pain. In an ideal world, I wouldn't be writing about my experience at all. I'd be pantomiming it. Only just now I realized how weird that sounds. That would be awful, which is the only way I was able to write the next paragraph. Okay. Title: Putting on Pants with a Pee Bag. Hopefully my final inpatient discovery, by Ivana Balsky. On the first attempt to get into my pants, an opening phrase I wish I'd written in a high school diary. I jam both feet into the leg holes and start hiking up the waistband before understanding that the flexible tubing extending from my urethra is not that flexible. Picture this. I know most of you can. A pee bag attached to its tubing that is periscoping out of my waistband. Oh, and I'm on the floor beside my hospital bed, the pee bag next to my hip, not standing up as you might have imagined. Now erase that image from your mind's eye, because my first attempt didn't work out. Kind of like first husbands. You never mention you have one until you have a second, which is what I had, a second attempt at pants, not husband. On the next attempt, I fold the filled pee bag enough to shove it through my right pant leg, followed by my right foot. I'm pleased with myself until I pull up my pants and see the pee bag sticking out at the bottom. Oh, and I'm standing up during my second attempt, and also my left leg never made it into my pants. Now erase that image from your mind's eye too, because that's as far as I get, before crumpling to the floor, backing against the wall, with knees pulled up to my quivering chin, which means I'm crying again, and yes, I too feel like every one of my essays is going to end with me in tears. The end. A nurse comes by, sees me slumped and crying. I don't know how to do this, I say, pointing to the pee bag sticking out of my pant leg. She crouches next to me and shows me how to use Velcro to strap the bag to my bare leg and pull my pant leg over to hide it. Maybe it's her small act of kindness, or the stars now aligning, or maybe it's just the position I'm in, but I finally fart. And that's my ticket out of here. I'm ready to leave all this behind me. My uterus, my ovaries, my cervix, that chunk of bladder. Did it ever really matter? Nurse Jackie, she really was the best. And my roommate with the flesh-eating disease. May she continue to convalesce. Most of all, I'm ready to never, ever, ever see the inside of a hospital again.